What do you find strikes a chord with them?
I think when you're real and they can feel it's real. You have to get out there and live some. You can't stay in an ivory tower and write things that I write. Now you can if you write about being in an ivory tower. There's nothing wrong with that either. But not everyone needs to do that. So I write about real life and experiences that people can relate to. In some ways, because I've had my ups and downs, I can reflect that in the writing, and more people can relate to it. So some of the little hard knocks pay off.
Yeah. Well, I think that's what really struck me of how just honest and real your writing is, and it speaks.
My life is real. You know, I'm looking for a piece of lipstick that I can find to put on. I'm looking for, searching for your shoes, that kind of, looking for your socks, what have you. You know, it's a juggling act.
And what would you say, April, to the newbies, if you will, the aspiring writers that are coming to Litquake, that are on Red Room, wanting to get their voice out there, wanting to be heard, but maybe are afraid or discouraged? What would you say to them?
You have to take risks, and you have to be balanced. Look for balance to some degree. Don't put all your eggs in the writing basket, because you don't want to end up on the street. Unless you come from money, you're going to have to balance. You're going to have to weigh things. You do what you can. You got to keep a roof over your head, possibly. Just work. Keep doing the work, but stay balanced. That's my advice.
What you said, risks. Talk more about the risks, if you will.
Well, sometimes you need to get in classes. You need to take workshops. You need to read in front of people and find out, get feedback. Doesn't mean you have to agree with everything they say, but it's important to have your work out there, to have your voice heard, and to go to writers' colonies or festivals, workshops. Put yourself out there. Go to take classes. Talk to friends that are literary or readers, etc. But you have to take those kinds of risks where you risk, having your stomach in knots as they read your work and in a classroom setting or something similar to that, or workshop setting, and I paid those kinds of dues.
Yeah. To the extent that your work is autobiographical or draws from experience enough that people wonder if it's autobiographical, how do you handle that? When you're essentially letting something so personal out into the world like that?
Well, I think it can be a good thing. I mean, you're vulnerable, but at the same time, when you are vulnerable in that way, you really can connect with people. There's an intimacy between you and the reader, or in some cases, the audience. So I think it's worth it. Let's put it that way. I think it's worth it.
And I'm fascinated by, when you read your piece, it really it came to life, and you were on. And can you talk a little bit about the difference between when you're writing and that process, and what do you get out of, why read one of your works at all? Out loud.
Why not? No.
Okay, that was good.
No, I like reading out loud. I like the connection with the audience. I like that live audience feeling. And I'm a people person. So actually when I'm writing, it's kind of lonely. So I look forward, it's one of the payoffs. I look forward to that time when I'm going to hear from people or hear their reactions, see their reaction. So to me, it's like the dessert, the gravy. Gravy, yeah, I like gravy's okay. Okay, I like dessert. stick with chocolate. Okay.
You can't go wrong. That was
can't go wrong.
One last quick question.
Sure.
So in the response and the feedback that you have gotten from your readers and your audience, what aspect of that, has any aspect of that surprised you, or?
Well, nothing surprises me anymore, I guess, sort of. Well, sometimes you're surprised that when you're reading, like I read something today I haven't read before an audience at all, even some of it in front of anybody except my dogs last night, and they don't really pay too much attention. So it was interesting to see where I got the laughs the most, and there were one or two that I didn't know would be as big a laugh, and almost didn't even include in it. So it's good to know. That's why it's one of the reasons it's helpful to hear from a live audience, kind of know where you're going more.
Definitely.
I'd just like to say that you're not alone. And that's important as a writer to remember. You're not alone. There are other people out here like you. And I think that can be very supportive, because sometimes we all feel alone, and being a writer means you're a part of something. You're a member of a club, regardless of whether you're published, regardless of whether you're famous, regardless of you're rich, poor, whatever. You belong somewhere. You're part of, you're one of us. So keep that in mind.